Welcome to REM Reads. We're so glad you're here. This is our first cycle, so to speak, and we hope you'll let us know how we're doing here in Season 1. Now is a good time to find your favorite sleeping position. Take a few deep breaths and just let go of the day. The only thing left on your schedule is to enjoy this time of rest and relaxation. We hope you enjoy the show. A warm afternoon in June. The perfect temperature outside. Not too hot. Sun behind puffy clouds. A quiet road bordering the ocean. The warm salt air picks up, and I'm greeted by a field of waving lavender. To its right is a vineyard, producing reds that survive even the coldest East Coast January. In between sips of Cabernet Franc, my attention is drawn to the most curious staff member, a black lab that loves head scratches. I exit the tasting room with my glass of wine to investigate the vast field of light purple moving with the breeze. Another curious creature appears in the form of a honeybee. Several honeybees. I finish the wine, abandon the glass, and continue my walk into instant aromatherapy. Lavender is a genus of 47 known species of perennial flowering plants in the mints family. It is native to the Old World, primarily found across the drier, warmer regions of mainland Eurasia, with an affinity for maritime breezes. Lavender is found on the Iberian Peninsula and around the entirety of the Mediterranean coastline, including the Adriatic coast, the Balkans, and coastal North Africa, in parts of Eastern and Southern Africa and the Middle East, as well as South Asia and on the Indian subcontinent. Many members of the genus are cultivated extensively in temperate climates as ornamental plants for garden and landscape use, for use as culinary herbs, and also commercially for the extraction of essential oils. Lavender is used in traditional medicine and as an ingredient in cosmetics. The genus includes annual or short-lived herbaceous perennial plants and shrub-like perennials, subshrubs, or small shrubs. Leaf shape is diverse across the genus. They are simple in some commonly cultivated species. In other species, they are pinnately toothed or pinnate, sometimes multiple pinnate, and dissected. In most species, the leaves are covered in fine hairs, which normally contain essential oils. Flowers are contained in whorls, held on spikes rising above the foliage, the spikes being branched in some species. Some species produce colored bracts at the tips of the inflorescences. The flowers may be blue, violet, or lilac in the wild species, occasionally blackish purple or yellowish. Lavender has 3 subgenera. Subgenus Lavandula is mainly of woody shrubs with entire leaves. It contains the principal species grown as ornamental plants and for oils. They are found across the Mediterranean region to northeast Africa and western Arabia. Subgenus Fabricea consists of shrubs and herbs, and it has a wide distribution from the Atlantic to India. It contains some ornamental plants. Subgenus Sabaudia constitutes 2 species in the southwest Arabian Peninsula and Eritrea, which are rather distinct from other species and are sometimes placed in their own genus Sabaudia. In addition, there are numerous hybrids and cultivars in commercial and horticultural usage. Thus, the current classification includes 39 species distributed across 8 sections in 3 subgenera. However, since lavender cross-pollinates easily, countless variations present difficulties in classification. The English word lavender came into use in the 13th century and is generally thought to derive from Old French lavandre, ultimately from Latin lavare, from lavo, to wash, referring to the use of blue infusions of the plants for bathing. The botanic name lavandula, as used by Linnaeus, is considered to be derived from this and other European vernacular names for the plants. The names widely used for some of the species, English lavender, French lavender, and Spanish lavender, are all imprecisely applied. The most common form in cultivation is the common or English lavender. A wide range of cultivars can be found. Because the cultivated forms are planted in gardens worldwide, they are occasionally found growing wild as garden escapes, well beyond their natural range. Such spontaneous growth is usually harmless, but in some cases, lavandula species have become invasive. For example, in Australia, lavender has become a cause for concern. It occurs widely throughout the continent and has been declared a weed in Victoria since 1920. It is also regarded as a weed in parts of Spain. Lavenders flourish best in dry, well-drained, sandy or gravelly soils in full sun. English lavender has a long germination process and matures within 100 to 110 days. All types need little or no fertilizer and good air circulation. In areas of high humidity, root rot due to fungus infection can be a problem. Organic mulches can trap moisture around the plant's bases, encouraging root rot. Gravelly materials such as crushed rocks give better results. It grows best in soils with a pH between 6 and 8. Most lavender is hand harvested, and harvest times vary depending on intended use. Commercially, lavender is grown mainly for the production of its essential oil. English lavender yields an oil with sweet overtones and can be used in balms, salves, perfumes, cosmetics, and topical applications. Lavandula and intermedia, also known as Dutch lavender, are widely cultivated for commercial use since their flowers tend to be bigger than those of English lavender and the plants tend to be easier to harvest. They yield a similar essential oil, but with higher levels of terpenes, including camphor, which add a sharper overtone to the fragrance, regarded by some as of lower quality than that of English lavender. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration considers lavender as generally recognized as safe for human consumption. The essential oil was used in hospitals during World War I. Culinary lavender is usually English lavender, the most commonly used species in cooking. As an aromatic, it has a sweet fragrance with lemon or citrus notes. It is used as a spice or condiment in pastas, salads and dressings, and desserts. Their buds and greens are used in teas, and their buds, processed by bees, are the essential ingredient of a monofloral honey. Spanish nard is listed as an ingredient in making a spiced wine. Lavender was introduced into England in the 1600s. It is said that Queen Elizabeth I of England prized a lavender conserve at her table, so lavender was produced as a jam at that time, as well as used in teas, both medicinally and for its taste. Lavender was not used in traditional southern French cooking at the turn of the 20th century. It does not appear at all in the best-known compendium of provincial cooking. French lambs have been allowed to graze on lavender, as it is alleged to make their meat more tender and fragrant. In the 1970s, a blend of herbs called Herbe de Provence was invented by spice wholesalers. Culinary lavender is added to the mixture in the North American version. In the 21st century, lavender is used in many world regions to flavor tea, vinegar, jellies, baked goods, and beverages. For most cooking applications, the dried buds, also called flowers, are used. The potency of lavender buds increases with drying, which necessitates a more sparing use to avoid a heavy, soapy aftertaste. Chefs note to reduce by 2/3 the dry amount in recipes that call for fresh lavender buds. Lavender buds can amplify both sweet and savory flavors in dishes, and are sometimes paired with sheep's milk and goat's milk cheeses. Lavender flowers are occasionally blended with black, green, or herbal teas. Lavender flavors baked goods and desserts, pairing especially well with chocolate. In the United States, both lavender syrup and dried lavender buds are used to make lavender scones and marshmallows. Lavender buds are put into sugar for 2 weeks to allow the essential oils and fragrance to transfer. Then the sugar itself is used in baking. Lavender can be used in breads where recipes call for rosemary. Lavender can be used decoratively in dishes or spirits, such as decorative and aromatic in a glass of champagne. Lavender is used in savory dishes, giving stews and reduced sauces aromatic flair. It is also used to scent flans, custards, and sorbets. The flowers yield abundant nectar, from which bees make a high-quality honey. Monofloral honey is produced primarily around the Mediterranean Sea and is marketed worldwide as a premium product. Flowers can be candied and are sometimes used as cake decorations. It is also used to make lavender sugar. The German Scientific Committee on Traditional Medicine, Commission E, reported uses of lavender flower in practices of herbalism, including its use for restlessness or insomnia and cardiovascular diseases, among others. Flower spikes are used for dried flower arrangements. The fragrant, pale purple flowers and flower buds are used in potpourris. Lavender is also used as herbal filler inside sachets used to freshen linens. Dried and sealed in pouches, lavender flowers are placed among stored items of clothing to give a fresh fragrance and to deter moths. Dried lavender flowers may be used for wedding confetti. Lavender is also used in scented waters, soaps, and sachets. During Roman times, flowers were sold for 100 denarii per pound, which was about the same as a month's wages for a farm laborer or 50 haircuts for the local barber. Since the late 19th century, lavenders and their color have been associated with the queer community. Chamomile is a common name for several daisy-like plants. Two of the species are commonly used to make herbal infusions for beverages. There has been limited research as to whether consuming chamomile in food or beverages is effective in treating medical conditions. The word chamomile is derived from French and Latin, from the Greek earth apple, from on the ground, and apple. First used in the 13th century, the spelling chamomile corresponds to the Latin chamomilla. Chamomile may be used as a flavoring agent in foods and beverages, mouthwash, soaps, and cosmetics. Chamomile tea is an herbal infusion made from dried flowers and hot water and may improve sleep quality. Two types of chamomile are used, namely German chamomile and Roman chamomile. Chamomile has historically been used as one of the flavoring ingredients in beer and is sometimes used by modern brewers. Usually the whole plant is used, adding a bitter flavor component. Chamomile is used to upholster chamomile seats, raised beds which are about half a meter tall and designed to be sat upon. Chamomile lawns are also used in sunny areas with light traffic. Chamomile is under preliminary research for its potential anti-anxiety properties. Nicholas Culpeper's 17th century The Complete Herbal has an illustration and several entries on chamomile. In Culture, The Tale of Peter Rabbit by Beatrix Potter, Peter's mother gives him chamomile tea to cure his stomach ache. Mary Wesley's 1984 novel, The Chamomile Lawn, features a house in Cornwall with a lawn planted with chamomile rather than grass. In the 2001 No Doubt song, Hey Baby, chamomile is featured in the line, I'm Just Sippin' on Chamomile, sung by Gwen Stefani. Chamomile is the national flower of Russia. In Shakespeare's Henry IV, Part 1, Falstaff proclaims that chamomile grows faster the more it is trodden on. Monarda is a genus of flowering plants in the mint family. The genus is endemic to North America. Common names include bergamot, bee balm, horse mint, and Oswego tea, the first being inspired by the fragrance of the leaves, which is reminiscent of bergamot orange. The genus was named for the Spanish botanist Nicolas Monardes, who wrote a book in 1574 describing plants of the New World. Monarda species include annual and perennial herbaceous plants. They grow to heights of 8 to 35 inches. The slender, serrated leaves are oppositely arranged on the square stem, hairless or sparsely hairy, and about 2.8 to 5.5 inches long. The flowers are tubular and bilaterally symmetric, with a narrow upper lip and wider lower lip. The wild flowers are single, but some cultivated forms have double flowers. Flower color varies, with wild species bearing red, pink, and light purple flowers. Hybrids occur in the wild, and they are common in cultivation. Seed collected from hybrids does not yield plants identical to the parent. The crushed leaves of all species exude a spicy, fragrant, essential oil. Several species have a long history of use as medicinal plants by many Native Americans, such as Blackfoot, Menominee, and Winnebago. The Blackfoot recognized the strong antiseptic action of the plants and used them in poultices for skin infections and minor wounds. Native Americans and later settlers also used it to alleviate stomach and bronchial ailments. A tisane made from the plant was also used to treat mouth and throat infections caused by gingivitis. Bee balm is a natural source of the antiseptic compound thymol, the primary active ingredient in some modern commercial mouthwash formulas. The Winnebago used a bee balm tisane as a general stimulant. Although somewhat bitter due to thymol content in the leaves and buds, the plant tastes like a mix of spearmint and peppermint with oregano. Bee balm was traditionally used by Native Americans as a seasoning for wild game, particularly birds. The plants are widespread across North America and can be found in moist meadows, hillsides, and forest clearings up to 5,000 feet in elevation. Monarda plants thrive in sun and moist but well-drained soil. Plants growing in partial shade spread horizontally and produce fewer flowers. Monarda are used in beds and borders to attract hummingbirds, pollinating insects, and insects that control garden pests. They are prone to developing powdery mildew in high humidity, especially if planted in a place without good air circulation. Hybrid cultivars range from dark red mahogany to bluish lilac to multiple shades of pink. These are generally not as robust as wild species. Some hybrids have been developed to produce high levels of essential oil for use as flavoring or medicine. The following cultivars have gained the Royal Horticultural Society Award of Garden Merit. Beauty of Coban, Garden View Scarlet, Marshall's Delight, and Squaw. The UK National Collection of Monardas is held at Glenbuck Gardens in Pembrokeshire. Monardas in the mint family. Molecular phylogenetic studies of this tribe have been poorly sampled, and relationships within it remain unclear. Cloves are the aromatic flower buds of a tree. They are native to the Maluku Islands in Indonesia and are commonly used as a spice, flavoring, or fragrance in consumer products, such as toothpaste, soaps, or cosmetics. Cloves are available throughout the year, owing to different harvest seasons across various countries. The word clove, first used in the English 15th century, derives via Middle English. The related English word gilliflower, originally meaning clove, derives via said Old French and Latin from the Greek clove. The clove tree is an evergreen that grows up to 26 to 39 feet tall, with large leaves and crimson flowers grouped in terminal clusters. The flower buds initially have a pale hue, gradually turn green, then transition to a bright red when ready for harvest. Cloves are harvested between 5/8 to 3/4 inches long and consist of a long calyx that terminates in 4 spreading sepals and 4 unopened petals that form a small central ball. Clove stalks are tender stems of the inflorescence axis that show opposite branching. Externally, they are brownish, rough, and irregularly wrinkled longitudinally with short fracture and dry, woody texture. Mother cloves are the ripe fruits of cloves that are ovoid, brown berries, uniocular, and one-seeded. Blown cloves are expanded flowers from which stamens have been detached. Exhausted cloves have most or all the oil removed by distillation. They yield no oil and are darker in color. Cloves are used in the cuisine of Asian, African, Mediterranean, and the Near and Middle East countries, lending flavor to meats such as baked hams, curries, and marinades, as well as fruit such as apples, pears, and rhubarb. Cloves may be used to give aromatic and flavor qualities to hot beverages, often combined with other ingredients like lemon and sugar. They are a common element in spice blends as part of the 4 sibling spices, besides cinnamon, cardamom, and star anise, for example, including pumpkin pie spice and other spices. In Mexican cuisine, cloves often accompany cumin and cinnamon. They are also used in Peruvian cuisine in a wide variety of dishes. A major component of cloves taste is imparted by the chemical eugenol, and the quantity of the spice required is typically small. It pairs well with cinnamon, allspice, vanilla, red wine, basil, onion, citrus peel, star anise, and peppercorns. Cloves are often added to betel quids to enhance aroma while chewing. The spice is used in a type of cigarette in Indonesia. Clove cigarettes were smoked throughout Europe, Asia, and the United States. Clove cigarettes are currently classified in the United States as cigars, the result of a ban on flavored cigarettes in September 2009. Clove essential oil may be used to inhibit mold growth on various types of food. In addition to these non-culinary uses of clove, It can be used to protect wood in a system for cultural heritage conservation and showed the efficacy of clove essential oil to be higher than a boron-based wood preservative. Cloves can be used to make a fragrant pomander when combined with an orange. When given as a gift in Victorian England, such a pomander indicated a warmth of feeling. Until the colonial era, cloves only grew on a few islands in the Moluccas, historically called the Spice Islands. Cloves were first traded by the Austronesian peoples and the Austronesian Maritime Trade Network, which began around 1500 BC. Later it became the Maritime Silk Road and part of the spice trade. The first notable example of modern clove farming developed on the east coast of Madagascar and is cultivated in 3 separate ways: a monoculture, agricultural parklands, and agroforestry systems. Archaeologist Giorgio Bucciolati found cloves in Turka, Syria, in a burned-down house which was dated to 1720 BC during the Kingdom of Kana. This was the first evidence of cloves being used in the West before Roman times. The discovery was first reported in 1978. They reached Rome by the 1st century AD. Other archaeological finds of cloves include: at the Batu Jaya site, a single clove was found in a waterlogged layer dating to between the 100s BC to 200s BC, corresponding to the Buni culture phase of this site. A study in the Mekong Delta of Vietnam found starch grains of cloves on stone implements used in food processing. This site was occupied from the 1st to 8th century BC and was a trading center for the Kingdom of Funan. 2 cloves were found during archaeological excavations at the Sri Lankan city of Mantai, dated to around 900 to 1100 AD. Cloves are mentioned in the Ramayana. One of the earliest examples of literary evidence of cloves in China is from the book Han Guanyi, Etiquettes of the Officialdom of the Han Dynasty, dating to around 200 BC. The book states a rule that ministers should suck cloves to sweeten their breath before speaking to the emperor. From Chinese records during the Song Dynasty, cloves were primarily imported by private ventures called merchant shipping offices, who bought goods from middlemen in the Austronesian polities of Java, Champa, and Butuan. During the Yuan Dynasty, Chinese merchants began sending ships directly to the Moluccas to trade for cloves and other spices. The Liber Pontificalis records an endowment made by Passanopoulos under Pope Sylvester I. This endowment included an Egyptian estate, its annual revenues, 150 libra of cloves, and other amounts of spices and papyrus. Cloves were also present in records in China, Sri Lanka, southern India, Persian, and Oman by around the 3rd century to 2nd century BC. These mentions of cloves reported in China, South Asia, and the Middle East come from before the establishment of Southeast Asian maritime trade. But all of these are misidentifications that refer to other plants, like cassia buds, cinnamon, or nutmeg, or are imports from maritime Southeast Asia, mistakenly identified as being natively produced in these regions. Archaeologists recovered the earliest known example of macro-botanical cloves in northwest Europe from the wreck of Danish-Norwegian flagship Gripshunden. The ship sank near Sweden in June 1945, while King Hans was sailing to political summit at Kalmar, Sweden. Exotic luxuries including cloves, ginger, peppercorns, and saffron would have impressed the noblemen and high church officials at the summit. Cloves have been documented in the burial practices of Europeans from the late Middle Ages into the early modern period. During renovations, a tomb was rediscovered that was used between 1475 and 1526 AD by 8 members of the House of Nassau. These burials had to be moved, but before being reinterred, these burials were studied for botanical remains. The burial of Simberga von Baden contained pollen from cloves. A Dutch physician wrote down multiple recipes for embalming, some of which included cloves. An embalming jar associated with Vittoria della Rovere also contained clove pollen. This probably came from her ingestion of clove oil as a medicine in her final days. When burials needed to be moved from the Church of Saint-Germain-en-Fleur, France, they were also studied for botanical remains. The body and coffin of Philippe René de la Motte Angot, Count of Fleurs, who was buried in 1737 AD, contained whole cloves. During the colonial era, cloves were traded like oil with an enforced limit on exportation. As the Dutch East India Company consolidated its control of the spice trade in the 17th century, they sought to gain a monopoly in cloves as they had in nutmeg. However, unlike nutmeg and mace, which were limited to the minute bandas, clove trees grew all over the Moluccas, and the trade in cloves was beyond the limited policing powers of the corporation. One clove tree, named Afo, is believed by experts to be the oldest in the world, from 350 to 400 years old. Tourists are told the seedlings from this very tree were stolen by a Frenchman named Pierre Pauvre in 1770, transferred to the Île-de-France, and then later to Zanzibar, which was once the world's largest producer of cloves. Current leaders in clove production are Indonesia, Madagascar, Tanzania, Sri Lanka, and Comoros. Indonesia is the largest clove producer, but only about 10 to 15% of its cloves production is exported, and domestic shortfalls must sometimes be filled with imports from Madagascar. The modern province of Maluku remains the largest source of cloves in Indonesia, with around 15% of natural production. Eugenol comprises 72% to 90% of the essential oil extracted from cloves, and is the compound most responsible for clove aroma. Complete extraction occurs at 80 minutes in pressurized water at 257 degrees Fahrenheit. Ultrasound-assisted and microwave-assisted extraction methods provide more rapid extraction rates with lower energy costs.